The $499 phone that just made Google's own flagship look overpriced is officially here. The Google Pixel 10a is packing the same Tensor G4 chip, a brighter 3000 nit display, satellite connectivity, and a completely new flat, bumpless design. And it's doing all of that without raising the price. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me keep bringing you more tech breakdowns like this one. That's a big deal, because for years, the A series has been about good enough. Good performance, good cameras, good value. But with the Pixel 10a, it feels like Google is closing the gap between mid-range and flagship more aggressively than ever. Let's start with what really matters: performance. The Pixel 10a runs on Google's Tensor G4 chip, the same processor powering the Pixel 9 lineup. That means you're not getting a watered-down experience. You're getting Google's full AI stack, backed by the Titan M2 security coprocessor, plus 8 GB of RAM. For a $499 phone, that's serious power. And that power shows up in everyday features. You get the full Gemini experience, including Gemini Live for natural back-and-forth conversations, and AI camera tools like Camera Coach, which gives real-time suggestions to improve framing and composition. There's also Auto Best Take, which fixes group photos by combining the best expressions. These are features that used to feel premium. Now they're standard. Then there's the display. Google upgraded the 6.3-inch Actua display to hit 3000 nits of peak brightness. That's 11% brighter than before and brighter than many flagship phones. Outdoor visibility? No problem. HDR content? Up to 2000 nits. And it's still a smooth 120 Hz refresh rate. For a mid-range device, this is honestly one of the most impressive screens in its class. Durability also gets a serious upgrade. The Pixel 10a now uses Gorilla Glass 7i instead of Gorilla Glass 3, and it keeps IP68 water and dust resistance. That means this isn't just affordable, it's built to last. Battery life is another standout. You're looking at a 5100 mAh battery rated for up to 30 hours of regular use. Turn on Extreme Battery Saver, and that stretches to a claimed 120 hours. Charging also gets a bump, up to 30 watts wired charging, plus 10 watts wireless charging. Now let's talk about design, because this is the first thing you'll notice. Google ditched the slightly domed camera bar and went with a completely flat, bumpless rear design. The cameras now sit flush with the back, so the phone lies perfectly flat on a table. It's a subtle change, but it makes the device look cleaner and more modern, and honestly, it just feels more refined. Camera hardware itself includes a 48-megapixel main sensor and a 13-megapixel ultra-wide with a 120-degree field of view. Up front, there's a 13-megapixel selfie camera. Combined with Google's computational photography, this is likely going to punch well above its price again, just like previous A-series phones. But one feature really stands out: Satellite SOS. For the first time in the A-series, the Pixel 10a can connect to emergency services even without Wi-Fi or cellular coverage. That's something we've mostly seen on higher-end phones. Bringing it to this price point adds real practical value, especially for travelers or outdoor users. Software support might be the biggest long-term win here. The Pixel 10a launches with Android 16 out of the box, and Google promises 7 years of OS updates, security patches, and pixel drop features. 7 years. That means updates all the way to 2033. At $499, that kind of longevity is rare. Storage options are 128 GB or 256 GB, and colors include lavender, berry, fog, and obsidian. It's also the greenest A-series yet, with 100% recycled aluminum frame and a recycled cobalt battery. So, what's the catch? If I had to nitpick, it's that the Tensor G4 isn't brand new. It's technically a 2-year-old architecture. It's still powerful, especially for AI tasks, but it's not cutting-edge silicone anymore. That said, for most people, real-world performance will feel more than fast enough. Here's the bigger picture. The Pixel 10a removes some of the biggest reasons to spend $800 or more on a flagship. The display is extremely bright, the design looks premium, the AI features are all here, you get satellite connectivity, and you're backed by 7 years of updates. For $499, that's aggressive. The Pixel 10a feels less like a budget compromise and more like the phone most people actually need. Not the flashiest, not the most experimental, but incredibly complete. And that's what makes it interesting. It's not trying to wow you with one crazy feature. It's trying to quietly make flagship phones harder to justify. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.